You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family. Me and my fans, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together to the grave.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Aaron Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part, this upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance, only at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle back with you. It is Wednesday night on the 1st of September. And the heat is still with us. So thanks for joining. We're going to talk about what's coming this way for our holiday week. And there's been a little bit of a slight change from the blog that I wrote on Sunday. As you know, I write a blog once a week. I post it on my website, aarontuttle.com, and link it to all my social media accounts. I do that every about Sunday afternoon, so you can always check. Usually Sunday evening it'll be updated. And I don't like to do it once because I'm busy. And I don't like to get the forecast wrong, so I put a little effort into it. Unfortunately, the front that I was watching last weekend is going to come in a little sooner and just a tad bit stronger. So we'll actually make more of an impact for our Labor Day weekend. So I don't want you working off of old info. I'm going to give you the updated info. So thanks for joining me. I'm going to put in the comments section, by the way, if you're watching me on Facebook right now. This is not mean for you guys on YouTube or Twitter. But if you look at the comment I just posted, during the broadcast, you can support, the next one, opt in to get notified by me directly when I go live on the next broadcast. So, in other words, a lot of people have commented in the past that Facebook does not notify them when I go live anymore. Well, this is a workaround for that. So if you click on that link, I will notify you that way when I go live, like I did tonight. And then in that, when you do hit to go watch the live broadcast, there is another button in there that says Manage notifications, so you need, or manage messages. So you need to click on that, and that will get you signed up for the next one. So you have to kind of re-opt in every time. It's a little bit of a pain, but at least it's a workaround for what Facebook should be doing, but is not doing. But YouTube and Twitter seems to work just fine. So you guys don't seem to have any problems being notified there. I see you guys, by the way, tonight on YouTube. So I see you, Matt, and Jim's in the house as always. Sean, loving it. Say hello to your son. And Nat's in the house. Shannon, good to see you. And Prince of Rain. Some of you guys on your internet names are hysterical. They're very creative sometimes. All right, so tell you what, let's get on with the program now that everybody's here, and we shall talk about the weather of interest. Okay, let's see. What do I want to do first? I'll tell you what, let's do this first. The heat. So today we did hit 100 degrees across many areas of Oklahoma to the northwest in the Panhandle, and then out here to the west and southwest. A few areas here in southern Oklahoma, and there's like one or two here, 3 or 4 in eastern Oklahoma. So there were some hot spots out there today. This was probably the hottest day of the year overall for many folks. And here in Oklahoma City proper, we got really close. Officially at the airport, 98 degrees. So we have not yet officially hit 100 at Will Rogers Airport, but your backyard thermometer may say a little different. I think mine topped out around 99 point something. So I don't know if I quite got 100, but it certainly felt like it. It's enough of this nonsense. I will show you though, overall, this summer, we have had numerous 100-degree days, but they've been up here in northwest Oklahoma. So, and keep your interest here on the next. I'm going to show you the next map of how this correlates, what this means up here in northwest Oklahoma. But you can see southwest. You guys usually don't get away a summer without seeing 100. There's even several spots out here in eastern Oklahoma, which is surprising. So there's a lot of trees, a lot of vegetation, usually a little more rain to help prevent that from happening. And it does not count to today. You see the date here, August 31st. So it does not count the days that we hit 100 degrees. So you're going to have to add a few more to that map. But the reason why I said focus in northwest Oklahoma, because the drought is expanding a little bit here. We do have a moderate drought in this area. And I'm hopeful, as we go into the rest of September, that'll change. But in the onset here, we need a little bit of relief here this weekend, and then we'll see what happens in the long term. Because I definitely need some rain in my backyard. It's been probably about 2 weeks since I've had anything substantial. All of my grass is now becoming dormant, starting to dry and brown up. But other places of Oklahoma, northeast, northwest, have seen a lot longer days than that, where they have not seen consecutive days where you've got at least a quarter of an inch of rain. Anything less than that doesn't do any good this time of the year. So you got to have at least that to do some good for the ground. Now, as far as August itself, we are well below normal in our rainfall amounts. We're about 30% of normal here, and all these little orange and red shadings goes up to around 40 to percent of below normal. And then you get southeast Oklahoma, they're like 200 to 300% above normal. So they really got the rain down here, even at far southwest Oklahoma, which is a oddity in itself. So there were some highlights across the state in August, although most of us could have used a little bit more rain. Okay, speaking of rain, what's going to happen? Let's get on to the forecast part of it. Here's a look at the jet stream pattern in the upper levels. We do have a weak ridge of high pressure aloft. Watch what happens to this as the air flows clockwise around a high. It's also kind of a dome to prevent us from seeing a lot of widespread rain. We have been able to squeeze out just a few isolated showers underneath this. I tend to talk about that in the blog, but it wasn't, it was going to be one of those things where you're lucky if you see one, that there's too few and far between. We do have an area of low pressure up here in the north, though, and what that will do is it swings across Canada into the northern plains, is it will drag down a cold front with it and into our weekend. So that's what's going to change our weather, is how this ridge will, let's do this. This ridge will I'll just draw it same in red. This ridge will retrograde back here into the desert southwest. This low will come east, and then that'll put us in a northwest flow. So we're going to get our jet stream pattern completely flip-flopped and changed, and that's going to allow us to get a little bit of a break. So we'll put this into motion. The ridge stays with us here over on Friday, and then on into Saturday morning, it starts to break down and then shift out into the west. So what happens is this little system up here in the north doesn't come south, so it's not enough to really drive a front through here very strongly. Initially, it's like a first wave, and as we head into Sunday, which is right here, we get that little dip right here in the jet stream. That's kind of a secondary push of some cooler air, a little instability for some cloud cover, etc., and a little bit of rain in the morning, but the ridge will stay anchored out to the west. So that'll help to relieve us from the heat. And we'll have to keep an eye on what happens down here in the Gulf of Mexico over the time, because there is some monkey business going on down there, which can end up being a tropical storm of some kind, or it's just a rainmaker. So we'll see what happens long term down there. But all the way up through Labor Day itself, this is the day after Labor Day, so it's Tuesday, ridge still stays anchored out to the west, and we're still in that northwest flow, which can be a dry flow, or it can sometimes bring in some storms off of Colorado that move in. Right now it looks like mainly a dry flow for this particular time, and then we'll see what happens. So that's the big picture, what's happening in the upper levels. What does that look like down below? All right, let's take a look at the latest data here from the NAM. Now tomorrow, it's not going to show up very well in the model data. In the summertime, models have a really tough time at predicting rain at all, but some isolated shower activity that kind of favor northeast Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas, maybe even some down here in southern Oklahoma. The signals are very, very weak. Some out here in the Panhandle and southwestern Kansas. It's not a big deal. If you get something tomorrow, consider yourself lucky. Most of us won't see a dadgum drop. All right, so let's go on into Friday. Now, Friday's when things change a little bit better as we head to Friday night and some of the data. So there's Friday 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it's 8 o'clock. See what I'm talking about up here in southwestern Kansas? That is the leading edge of a cold front. That's the weak front that's going to start to approach the state. And this takes us into Saturday around 3 o'clock in the morning. So it doesn't go out far enough on that model. We shall switch over to another one. That'll go out just a tad further. I wanted to get the latest data in here. So there we go. So here's Saturday, 7 o'clock. So it has this little rain line along the weak front that's moving on into north central and northeast and western Oklahoma. So if you do have some activity outdoors planned for Saturday evening and overnight, Saturday night and Sunday morning, you'll have to dodge some showers of storms. Broken in nature as this line kind of fills in a little bit and moves through. Now there is an interesting phenomenon that could occur, and let me show it to you this way. Let me try the temperatures first. Let's see if I get lucky here. All right. Okay. So what can sometimes happen when a front comes in late in the afternoon, if the timing is just right, on a weak front like this, you can get compression and warming out ahead of the front. And the models do kind of indicate some temperatures up here around 95 to 96 degrees, right along the frontal boundary. Depending on where the location of this is and the timing, we could theoretically maybe hit 100 degrees here in Oklahoma City Metro if things align perfectly just right. So that might be a little surprise event. Otherwise, it'll quickly cool down once the wind shift happens and the clouds build in and the rainfall starts to happen. So there's a slight chance for that. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Rainfall amounts don't look to be overly impressive, but at least it's not bad. 1/4 of an inch for many areas from roughly let's call it the southern third of the state is a cutoff. This goes through Monday, by the way, so this takes care of the whole weekend, even though most is going to be for Saturday evening into Sunday morning. Just to let you know, that's 99% of the rain windows right there. But we're looking at, let's see, in the blue shading up to about an inch. So the models do favor some areas getting up to about an inch of rain and some of the heavier thunderstorms. Otherwise, at least there's a good signal for about half an inch of rain for several people, and that would definitely be helpful. Temperature-wise, we go through time, and this is the biggest change you'll notice with this because cloud cover will roll in, so it'll be cloudy on Sunday. The winds will be light Saturday and even into Sunday and Monday, so don't look for big wind events. So if you're out on the barbecuing the lake, whatever, things looking good. Temperatures, how about that? Low to mid 80s across the state on Sunday. This is Oklahoma City, but it gives you the idea. And then on Monday, we will see a lot more sunshine on Monday. Again, no rain expected, and we'll be back into probably the upper 80s, but it should feel like a decent upper 80s, not a unbearable. And then we'll be back in probably the low 90s, maybe even mid 90s briefly, somewhere in this little window here. But otherwise, it looks relatively seasonal in that extended outlook. And if you really want to go out with time, let's take you on in through the middle of September. Model averaging here is starting to drop. This is the ensemble mean. So in other words, it takes a lot of the different runs of the same model for our American model, and it does start to cool things down little by little, but that is supposed to happen this time of the year. A little climatology built in, looks like. So we'll be back down around the upper 80s to around 90, still overnight lows in the 60s. But the question is, will we see some decent rain? Sometimes it depends on the tropics, and sometimes it just depends on, you get a stronger front in here, with the right moisture profile out ahead of it. The one that's coming on Saturday is kind of moisture starved. It's going to squeeze out whatever it can, but in the atmosphere itself, like you noticed today, for example, it was hot, but it wasn't as muggy, heat index hot. In other words, the humidity values in the afternoon are right around 35%. That's pretty low. And so there's a lot of difference between the actual air temperature and the dew point temperature. It's very wide. What that happens is you get a really high base cloud to form, which means a very high base shower, high base thunderstorm. That's a lot of dry air in between. Sometimes you can get some damaging wind gusts with that when they kind of collapse. But as far as really heavy rainfall, that's harder to get in that environment. Okay, so that's a quick look at all that stuff. Let me see if there's any couple of questions. I'm going to turn you loose. So thanks again for joining me. And if you missed it at the beginning on Facebook, I'll post the link again. If you'd like to opt in to get live weather notifications from me that I'm about to go live, because you're not getting them on Facebook, do that, and then I'll send you a message in your DM. All right, let's see. YouTube real quick. Good to see you, Nikki. And Shauna, his name is Hunter. All right. Hello, Hunter. How are you doing? Thanks for watching. Good. You got me on the TV, so I'm in full-fledged 1080p. Upscale to 4K, I'm sure. I'm probably the only person in America that does not have a 4K TV yet. So I'm holding out because my DLP is still good. If those of you folks know what DLP is, you're old like me. So it's doing good. I've got a plasma in the other room, which is even funnier because those things were phased out too. But again, it works. And I'm not buying another one just to buy another one. Even though every time I walk into Sam's, they got these huge, like 80-inch, QLED TVs for, I don't know, they're getting cheap, like $2-3 grand. I'm like, oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. But I'm going to hold out because I'm just that way. Let's see. Twitter, Periscope, it's hard for me to answer questions there anymore. When the platform was different, I was able to answer like the Periscope stuff on the fly, but they kind of changed that up, so I don't really know what Twitter's doing with that. So if you do have questions for me during a broadcast, you can join my YouTube page or go on to Facebook. You can do it that way. All right, let me go to the main page here. By the way, saw some of you throw me some stars tonight, so I appreciate that, Leslie. And Diana's in the house. Ladies, appreciate you. John's in the house with 200 stars. Thank you, thank you. My friend Trent's watching. Good to see you, brother. Carla says it was 103 in Piedmont today. I believe it. So the cold front is coming, Leela, for Oklahoma City. It'll be, let's just say 7 o'clock. Give or take an hour. It's not going to be a big push, so it's going to be kind of a slow approach. And then we'll get some storms that fire along it. And that might kind of help push some outflow boundaries out ahead of it. And the front kind of oozes in behind it where it kind of gets lost in the noise. Angela's in the house with some stars. Thank you very much. Let's see. State Fair is coming, so yeah, you know that means rain is coming in the forecast soon. Chris, okay, buddy. That's gross, dude. Let's not post that on there. Let's see. Emily Lou, I know it, right? 90s does sound very reasonable. Is there a winter forecast? Evan wants to know. Yes, I get asked that a lot, so I'm going to tell you what it is. Mike says that the Hurricane Ida really mixed up the water in the deeper depths. So I don't know if there was a news article or whatever about that, but anytime a hurricane goes through as strong when it does do a lot of upwelling, that does kind of mess up the homeostasis of the water temporarily, and then it eventually, the Gulf Stream is going to overpower it. It just takes a little while to regenerate. But there's going to be some other storms that develop down there, so it is the season for that, and the pattern's favorable. So that's why I say we'll have to watch the next 7 days to see if anything pops up down there. It'd be a quick moving development, quick landfall if so. Yeah, it's still causing trouble in the Northeast. A lot of tornadoes today. I do notice they really don't know what to do with tornadoes up there. They have no clue. I guess they just don't see enough of them to, I don't know. It's just, I saw a video today where the guy was at his hotel window in his bathroom seeking shelter on, I don't know, like the 10th floor, and just had his phone or whatever, just watching out the windows. The tornado went right by, just kicking stuff up everywhere. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that window could shatter and break any time, and you got glass in the face along with anything else going around with the trees. So, and then another thing is he's upstairs. He should be downstairs, the lowest floor. So those were my takeaways watching that. Great video, but put his life in danger for that, or at least susceptible to injury. I just don't know if they have a healthy fear of what to do up there with the tornado when it comes to seeking shelter. All right, so real quick, Evan, on the winter weather outlook. All right. So first off, let me just get this out there. Some of you can be really upset with me. That's fine. I say this every year anyways. The Farmer's Almanac is good for toilet paper when you're in a pinch. That's what I would use it for. All right, and they've got some puzzles and games or whatever. Entertain the kids. That's about as far as I use that of value. So it eventually, every now and then, it will actually do a pretty decent job, but that's only because a broken clock is right, twice a day, and there's no skill in that. So throw that out anytime you hear the Farmer's Almanac. It's like the Punxsutawney Phil rodents. Who cares? It's just silly. But anyway, for our winter Oklahoma, it's always the same. Ready? There's gonna be some cold days. There's gonna be some mild days. There's gonna be a lot of dry days. There's gonna be some wet days. And the wet days will be a mixture of either be rain or it'll be sleet. out in ice or it'll be snow. And that's our winter pretty much every year. So the devil's in the details on timing all those things out, and we do that week to week and sometimes a couple weeks out ahead of the time. But all long-range outlooks have very little skill. And when I mean very little skill, a lot of guesswork, a lot of hoping and wishing and gnashing of teeth and all that kind of stuff, and it rarely pans out. And this goes to everyone from the government level to the private sector, energy firms. They all try it because, keep in mind, all they're looking for is just this much better than climatology, whatever normally occurs. If they can edge it, it's like a Vegas. You have to think of it as Vegas and the house odds on a table game, right? If Vegas can edge it this much more over you, with them winning than over you, long term, pays out, right? You're eventually going to get a lot of those and you're going to make money. Same idea in the energy sector, long-term climate forecasting. If you can just edge out maybe just this much more wins and losses, you come out ahead in some dollar figure, right? The problem is it's a very large continent. If you're just looking at the U.S. and you're trying to forecast different regions down to different states, then people are trying to plan their budgets off of it or whatever. It's a nightmare. So bottom line is it's fun to try and do, and every year it's out there. Reality sets in. It's just there's very little skill, so the accuracy is very poor. We're doing really good though at a full week out. That accuracy is really, really good. Matter of fact, everybody nowadays is spoiled. The accuracy is so good, a lot of it's automated, like on your weather apps and stuff. So people gotten used to that. So even though the joke is still there, will always be there for a TV weatherman. You can be 90% wrong and still get paid, kind of a deal. Even though that folklore joke still exists, the truth is the forecast is almost so good all the time that when it's wrong, you actually get upset because on a daily basis, you don't even notice it because it's right all the time and you already know what to do and prepare. So we're in a different era with that science. That's kind of cool. It's a good era to be in versus the other one where we really were wrong a lot. So, but that's just more and more research coming in. The frustrating part probably in the research community is that a lot of the money is going into climate change for universities to focus on versus improving forecasting and improving modeling to the next level. So we had this great run, and now there's a little bit of a gap because now they're trying to do something that really can't be done, and none of it's panned out yet. But they keep thinking they keep throwing money in it, and more time it'll eventually pan out, which I get that. But some of the other parts will suffer if you put all your eggs in one basket. So how that translates into better, weather forecasting extended from like 7 days to 10 days, or maybe from 10 to 15. Maybe more. I'll tell you what, one area that is really weak right now is summertime thunderstorms because models never have a clue. They're very hit and miss. They can develop almost off of nothing as far as what they call a kicker. It could be a tiny boundary, a wind shift. It could be just random heat bubble popping up and it breaks the weak cap or whatever. And then as far as the convective nature life cycle of that, they hem-haw on that too, therefore they don't know how much precipitation to make out of it. And then if it stalls, you can end up with 10 to 20 inches of rain all of a sudden, right, out of nowhere. Look what happened in Tennessee, and that stuff's unforecasted. So that's where really we need some more help, is in that world. But anyway, so that's just a whole side deal behind the scenes in the meteorological world that you don't know about or hear about, but that's what goes on. All right, well, that's it for me. I want to appreciate you guys watching tonight. I just want to give you an update on the forecast for your upcoming Labor Day weekend. If you're tuning in late, your 10-second recap. There's rain Saturday evening through Sunday morning. Cloudy on Sunday. Temperatures maybe close to 100 here in central Oklahoma on Saturday before the front moves through. And then Sunday, much cooler, in the 80s statewide almost, and really, really nice. But still kind of cloudy, and then light winds. And then Monday, much better, a lot of sunshine, no rain expected, and looking good. And then we'll warm up a little bit after that. So that's it for me. All right, you guys have a great rest of your evening. It's good to see you. We'll do this again later. Take care.